everyone, welcome to the second episode of Halloweek, where we will be unboxing a kit every day up until Halloween. As I mentioned in the previous video, today's going to be a comparison of the two kits. The two kits being exactly the same and by the same company, p.1111 Models. And this is their p.1111. p.1111 Models is actually a Turkish company, and they're some of the cheapest kits you can buy in their quality, but mainly in their price, ranging from about £6. And some of them are reboxes of mainly Pioneer 2's model kits from the 80s, but they also made their own original toolings, and this is one of them. So I got this in a bundle, and I already had this one, but I'm glad to have this one since this one had a fault with the plastic. So when showing off the contents of this one, I'll be putting the exact pieces into this box in the bag. So it will still be accurate because it'll be in a bag and you'll still see the instructions, but the pieces will be from this kit. But I will show you the other ones because I have a bit of a complaint, which hopefully I can get sorted out. So here's the 90s boxing. The art is on both sides. You got the art and some things there. I think the box is a bit faded. I could be wrong. So I would say the box art's quite nice compared to the new one. Instead of doing a Hobby 2000 and just showing off the sort of a side shot of the aircraft, instead they actually have proper painted artwork. But for some reason they decided to replace it. So anyways, next up are the parts. The fuselage is the one bit, it just sort of looks like that. So let's spread out the content of the box and show off what you get. So we get one grey sprue, some decals, an instruction booklet, one clear part, and two fuselage parts, which also are the wings. I think first, as I usually do, cover the smallest sprue, that being the clear sprue. So now the camera is lowered, you should be able to see that it's not really got any lines. Yeah, it looks alright. You know, they're quite a good company for what they do, produce kits on a cheap level, which I'm glad that a company isn't just always out there to produce these expensive kits, since nowadays most modern kits are about £10 each, or at least in 172. But these kits are about £6. On eBay people charge them for a lot more because of shipping, I guess. But from a model shop like Hannett's, they're only a very minimal price. So, next part is the fuselage parts. The wheel wells, as you can see, definitely aren't deep enough for the wheels to actually fit in there. Personally, this reminds me a lot of the Pioneer 2 Sea Fury. I would, if I were you, and probably what I'm going to do, cut them out, make them deeper with some plastic card. So yeah, they have got recessed panel lines, but I don't know if you can see that weird texture. They feel strange. It's hard to explain. It's a bit grainy, almost as if you had little bits in the paint, which I know it's not painted, but that's how I would describe it. You can see it there in the light. It is strange. I bet if you had a very fine sandpaper, you could probably sand it down. And the front one's not too bad, maybe a bit deeper, but then the nose gear wouldn't fit on, so never mind. yeah, there's a big bit of flash covering where the engine should go. And on the flip side, which I forgot to do in my previous video, and I apologise for that, you can see the plastic doesn't look much better here. We've also got where the cockpit should be placed and where the air intakes start. As you can see, it's been cut off the sprue. Not because of what I've done, but actually the modern release of these have these little support bars on the side, which I guess back then they just never bothered, well, they bothered to cut them off, but nowadays they don't, which I find kind of strange. It seems like they decrease in quality. Well, I mean, it seems like they decrease in quality. And you can tell by the plastic parts usually, because as you'll see when I show off the part in a minute, it seems like they haven't really tried. It seems like their quality control's been on the decline. The tailpiece, it doesn't have any rudders. It's one tail bit. Looks alright. You can't really tell where the actual fin is. You can tell the actual tail fin, but you can't tell where the rudder is. It just, you might want to scribe that a bit deeper, or do something to indicate where it is. I have this small little engine part, which looks odd. A cockpit floor, 3 landing gear parts, as well as a yoke, these square pedals, these doors for the landing gear, some more doors, and some wheels. So overall that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 pieces, including the clear parts and the fuselage. 18 pieces if I'm correct, which really is basic. I built their Lippish P13, as you saw on my birthday haul, hopefully, and if you haven't seen that, that was only 13 pieces. So we'll quickly look at the chair. It does actually have some small line of where the seat belts are, but once again on those gear doors they don't really have a line of where to cut them, unless they want you to have them on all the way, which they don't. I just checked the box. There's a small sort of scratch like line, but it's very hard to see. There you go, you can just about see it. I could barely notice it a minute ago. Yeah, so it doesn't look the best at the moment. Apart from this, we have the instruction manual, which is folded up and is in colour. So I will once again raise the camera, move the bits off to the side, and we can open it up. On the front, we have all this information, and then it folds out even more, and you can see the colour diagram, which is an evening colour. Their colour scheme is an interesting one, with this mottled camouflage on the side, going up onto the fin, and then the splinter camouflage in green and brown. It's interesting for the modelling, but mainly in the colours, it's rather boring and uninteresting. So let's start with the first bit, since it is 2 exploded diagrams. It tells you to actually attach the canopy first, then the tail, then the cockpit assembly, and the jet. And then, last but not least, cut the landing gear, and then attach all the other parts. As you can see, made in Turkey. And yep, that is it. Apart from the last thing, the decals. Which are on a white backing paper. because this was actually still sealed when I bought it, usually if you find an old PM Models kit from the 90s, the decals are yellowed like they're from the 50s or the 60s, but they're actually not that old. They do have a reputation for breaking. On one of my old PM Models kits, I actually managed to do a shark face they included on their TA283. And that almost shattered, but it didn't, luckily. They also include the classic 2/2 swastika. So overall, well, because why the decals is in half, there is actually 8 decals. But if these were together, that would be a total of 6. 4 iron crosses in 2 different colours, and just some swastikas. That is it. That is it. So now I cut to part 2. This is the Messerschmitt p.1111, but the 2021 version, I believe. It says 2017, but I think this came a lot later. The p.1111 from 2020 seems to have worse box art, and as you'll see, worse quality control. But now it says 14 plus instead of, I think, 8 plus on the original. Yeah, the model kit's the model kit rating's now 14 years and above, where it used to be a lot younger. Yeah, I've got both of these. I enjoy building both. I know this one has a reputation. This one didn't have too many gaps, so it was alright. I actually liked it very much. So yeah, on the flip side, we just have the same box art. So if we open it up, you will see this. Now, of course, I'm not going to go back over the parts, but I will show you what you get in this version instead. So if I raise the camera, wait a minute. There we are. So in this version, we get the same sprues, some decals, a poster, I guess, and an instruction booklet. So first, I will go over these 2 parts. I know I said I'm not good. Oh yeah, and I forgot. We also have the canopy, which now actually comes in a small bag. But I won't go over the parts apart from this fuselage part. Now it has burst, and I have tried to sand it to see if I could get it. But look on this part of the fuselage. This is what it came like. It was bubbling. The plastic was just peeling off. Now I think I had this on a previous kit before, or something similar to this happened, where on my old Airfix Wildcat, the canopy, not the canopy, the engine pieces just started to peel off. And that's what's happening here. I have tried to sand it, and I have tried to fill it with glue, and it did work for a while, and I did do that once, and it just burst. And now there's this horrible mark, which is actually dented inwards. So I would have to fill it. I'd probably fill it with super glue. But that is not good quality control. You know, if you know, someone who knows the company, yeah, if someone who knew the company saw this, I think they would be disappointed, you know, to see that their company has this bad quality control. If Airfix saw a bit like this, they often get rid of the sprue. If there's even one bit missing, they will melt it back down. But apparently they don't want to do that here. I just want to rant about that. I'm just not very happy with how it came. So we'll move the other parts away, apart from the canopy, which once again I'll just show. It's in a small bag, which is better, but it was raised, so it wasn't going to get scratched too bad, I don't think. First of all, I think I'll cover the decals, which I usually leave to last. We actually have 2 schemes in this box. We still only have 4 iron crosses, 2 white, 2 black. We have 2 yellow 7s, 2 black 2s, and also the same swastikas, but actually you might not be able to see it, but there are also some white clear swastikas here. Yeah, that's quite nice to see. They still got that white backing paper. And next we'll cover the second part of this thing, the poster. It's this nice sort of nice glossy paper, and it just shows the box art. I also had the TA1831 one. Yeah, I don't know why they include these, but it's a nice little thing they include. I would never display it on my wall or anything. I mean, it's tiny, and it's not actually the good box art, it's just the worst one. But it's nice that they include it at least. This could also be a bit of a painting guide if it really needed to be. I also will show you on the back. It's just nothing on there. There's no instructions or anything. It is just that. Next we have the instruction booklet, which I will raise the camera. Yeah, it's like a small pamphlet basically. We also have some information, different languages. I think we got English and I believe German. We can also see the colour schemes peeking out, but I'll save that to last. Once again, 2 exploded diagrams, the same as the previous box, and also tells you some symbols, just like how FX does it. But there is my favourite part of seeing the 46 kit. What did they think their colour scheme would be like? I'm glad they do these in colour now. It is one of the best things of the newest box. When you just get these 2 colour schemes, which I really like. So I'll show them off. First of all, they label it as, let me try and get it there. We have the first scheme, which they label Luftwaffe 1946, or Luftwaffe 46, Defense of the Reich, Yellow 7, 3, Staffel JG1, September 1946. Which is actually, I believe, the same scheme from the other kit. Almost. It has yellow instead of red and white. And it has a bit of a darker brown, but it's practically the same. And they also show you what's on the reverse side. And then, once again, we have Luftwaffe 46, Defense of the Reich, Black 2. I'm not going to read that because I'm not sure how I'm going to pronounce that. But this is a nice scheme. Light grey with dark grey and the green and white. This looks really stealthy. I would probably do this scheme, but I have an interesting scheme I might do, which I'll discuss at the end. Seems like it's almost purple, the other scheme. But then we also have these labelled in practically every paint company I can say. Humbrol and Tamiya mainly. Model Master 2090. And even in the RLM colours, which is really nice to see. So yeah, colour diagrams finally for a cheap kit. That is very nice. I like it. So overall, I'll actually use this as the ending screen. What do I think? Well, as I said, I'm a bit disappointed on their quality control on the second kit, but I will tell you that their decals are also still bad, but at the same time, I'm happy they include things like this and instruction booklets fully colorized now. It's actually not too bad of a kit. You know, it's not something which is super good, but it reminds me of an older model. And you know what? Older models are also fun, you know? They're not the best, but they're just fun, you know? You can build them in a weekend or a day. And after that, you've got a small thing to put on your desk. And after all that, you know, it's not the best kit in the world, but it sure does have its qualities. I personally think that the scheme I'm going to do is a post-war scheme after France got given a few aircraft to rebuild their air force. If you don't know, they did get given a few HE-162s, I believe, when they were rebuilding their air force. And I think it'd be interesting to do it in that same colour scheme, which was all over blue, and then some French roundels, which I have spare. Personally, I think that would be a cool scheme, but I also might do a captured American one. I actually had this in the newer box for a while, just in case I want to do the captured American one. So anyways, tomorrow will be a twist on a classic aircraft from the end of the Second World War. It's a 3-seat version of it, and it's definitely a bad kit, but I'm sure to love it. Anyways, I'll see you then.